Hello, welcome to Turf Talk on TrinityMirror.tv. I am Ramraj. We have with us in our studios Professor Ravi Chaturvedi, a Padma Shri and also known as Panditji in commentating circles. Today we will be talking about India's performance in the Commonwealth Games. Welcome to this show on TrinityMirror.tv, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ramraj. You see, the recent Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast city of Australia, India had a very nice outing. It's one of the best performances India ever had in the Commonwealth Games. In events like shooting, boxing, wrestling, we fared very well. Even weightlifting,
yes.
Very well pointed out by you. And we certainly dominated the arena in these games. And in fact, some of our sportsmen or sports women performed much higher than their opponents. And this was very satisfying as far as the Indian sports was concerned. But one thing was there, that is, we did very badly in hockey, a game where we felt that we will at least get a medal and we did not get a medal. Maybe this is the first time in anywhere in Commonwealth Games that India has not got a medal in hockey. That was a sad part of the Commonwealth Games. Badminton, look, both the girls, they figured in the final. And even in the final, it was a very exciting match. It was a see and saw battle. It could have both the games could have gone any way. The long rallies that they played their heart out. And it was very exciting final, where maybe because of the better experience, Saina prevailed over Sidhu. Now, from here, what appears is, now these two girls are doing very well at the international level, and I hope they continue to keep up their form up to the Tokyo Olympics, because that will be the litmus test of their abilities. When I look back at the badminton in the last decade or so, both the Indian men and the women, they have coming to the top, they have started emerging. And one factor which has contributed to their emergence to the top is, or somewhere in the category of the top badminton players, is the domination of Chinese, who ruled the roost in the badminton world in the last decade. When these boys and girls, these men and women, they started beating the Chinese, that gave them the confidence that we can beat the best. And I hope they carry this forward to the Tokyo, where India should be able to get another medal in badminton, which they had won in silver at Rio through Sidhu.
Yes.
So this Sindhu performance, if this is repeated, and also in the men's category, I think India can look forward to a medal in the Tokyo Olympics. Now, the other part. We should celebrate. We should be happy that we have won so many medals. We have never won so many medals in the Commonwealth Games. But if you look on the other side, the competition in Commonwealth Games is not that intense as it is even in the Asian Games.
Yes.
In the Asian Games, you will have wrestlers from Iran who are world class. Similarly, in other areas also, you will get the Chinese.
Japanese and Chinese.
Japanese. So, there the competition is going to be higher, and that is where your sports potential, the abilities of a sports person will be tested first in Asian Games and then finally to the ultimate, that is the Tokyo Olympics. So this has been rather, this is what, when we think of our victory, when we think of the maximum medals which have ever won in Commonwealth Games, this should also be a point which should be kept in mind for planning the future.
Sir, another important thing when you see in the Commonwealth Games is among the victories that India got, there was a kind of a blend of youth and the experience, like Mary Kom, she won, and we some younger other sports persons also won. So this combination of youth and experience winning, and how does it augur for Indian sports, as you rightly said, carrying forward to the Asian Games and then next step the Olympics?
Well, this is a very relevant point you have raised. I will tie down this to Mary Kom. I mean, hats off to this lady. Whenever I think of the Indian sports, I think of two. One Mary Kom and another Leander Pace. That despite their advancing age and their performance level, their intensity and commitment in the game still is very high. And that is a big lesson for the younger generation of sportsmen in our country. Coming particularly to Mary Kom, imagine a lady who is the mother of three children. And at this age also she is taking so much and taking her performance to that level where she wins the gold medal. I mean, hats off to her. Another thing, it's not only Mary Kom. The maximum medals you are getting through girls and ladies only. The national, your campaign to empower women, that maybe in other spheres of national activities, the Indian women might not have shown so much of prowess as they have shown in the games. And this is a symbol of empowerment of women in India. So that's another aspect which I like to add to this.
Yeah, like tennis, you have Sania Mirza.
Yeah.
She has risen to the top.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there are certain examples of women. So keeping this in mind, what should be the focus of the associations and all the other stakeholders in pushing India's medal winning target forward? How do we go about it?
Look, whenever we talk of, I think we are short-circuiting our aims and objectives. When we say of how many medals for Tokyo and subsequent Olympics and so on. Sports does not develop overnight. There has to be a mass movement for sports. And what I call as sports culture, the country has to develop a sports culture. When you develop a sports culture, then it will automatically throw up. Now the question is that the ground level, we have to do the work at the ground level, the villages, the talukas, the Mofussil townships. There are people, there are athletes there who are talented. We have to scout the talent from there because they are very poor. Once they get a platform where they know they can make a name for themselves, and once they make the name for themselves, they can get everything in their life which is worthwhile. So therefore, today the need is to develop a sports culture and then to scout the talent at the grassroots level. Last but not the least, as a one who has been in education, there is a very important, it is absolutely necessary if you want a sports culture to develop, the curriculum has got to be drastically changed. Why should a sportsman study history, philosophy, political science for his graduate degree? Whatever he performs, as in sciences we have practicals, so whatever he performs, that should also be evaluated as a mark for his degree and lessen his burden of academics, because there is a big burden on him on the field. Now you are doubly burdening him, one performance on the field and one performance in the classroom. Please don't do injustice to it. I will urge University Grants Commission, I will urge NCRT, National Council of Education Research and Training, and all the institutions involved in evolving an education policy or education system. This has to be kept in mind, this has to be borne in mind, that for sportsmen, the sports girls and boys, there should be compulsory a plus for them. Their curriculum has got to be very different so that they are not burdened.
Again, as you rightly said, we have to again fan out to the rural areas like our wrestlers, weightlifters, even Mary Kom boxers, or even Saina Nehwal. They came from smaller villages. Maybe later on they start practicing in bigger cities. So now fanning out to these villages, Like we have this Sports Authority of India in its previous avatar known as National Institute of Sports. It was actually set up to sort of spot and encourage talent. But today it seems to become more of training venues rather than encouraging or spotting talent. So what do you think, what went wrong with this concept of a Sports Authority of India to encourage and another talent in India?
You see, the the biggest problem that they face or they are confronted with is that they have not been able to fan out, as you very rightly said, into the rural areas, because that is the raw talent is there. And unless you groom the raw talent, you will not be able to fulfill your aims of getting Olympic medals in other disciplines than what you have already got. It is a very long-term process. First of all, scouting the talent, then nurturing and nursing the talent. You know, building a sports person does require so many, it's a Herculean task. You need a sports psychologist, you need his weight trainer, you need a coach for him, all these things, or you need academy for him where he could be trained. What we are doing is our younger generation is burdened with a basta. Basta, you mean you carry the bag on your on your back, which is full of books, which puts a lot of pressure on your spine. Lessen that burden of basta, so that
The
he
brain.
could think and he could physically take part in some physical activities. This rat race for marks is destroying the younger generation completely. They attend the school, then they are going to the coaching classes, they have hardly any time to relax. This way you cannot have a sportsman in your country, and as I said, to develop sports culture. Once the sports culture is developed, it becomes an important component of your social setup. You will start getting the sportsman.
Yeah, but what you're basically trying is there should be a mindset change. And can an organization such as Sports Authority of India with so much of government support, can't it get into that aspect at least?
There are two parts of your question. You very rightly said. When we were young, I mean, in the college, university, and school, in Hindustani there was a saying they used to say, खेलोगे कूदोगे तो होगे खराब, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो होगे नवाब. That is, if you
Yeah.
play, you will be spoiled. If you study, you will become a nawab. This is reversed now. Sportsmen, look at the top sportsmen. They have a social stature, they have a social security, they have everything which they wanted in life. Anybody who is aspiring for a good life, they have everything in life. So the focus on sports is there is no doubt about it. But it's limited to certain families. That's one part of the question. The other thing is, we are no government authority, whether sports authority, I am not casting any aspersion on the function of anybody, but this is my feeling. The government agencies, they have their own limitations. What happens in government? You fix your targets and you try to achieve your targets. Sometimes you don't achieve even those targets. Target achieving will not serve the purpose. Have the quantity. As once your base is broad, the quality will also emerge. And this no government organization will do. It has got to be done at a grassroots level. In schools it should be done, it should be done in colleges, it should be done. Why not in the district level? You have blocks, the community development blocks all over the country. Why not there some infrastructure of sports? You have sports stadia at the most now in townships, but not in rural areas, not even in Mufassil townships. When the kids they don't have playing fields, no facilities, what do you expect? So when I say sports culture, it doesn't mean it's a holistic development for the sports. This sports culture will take care of everything. Now, what I am talking about sports culture is when the Eastern Bloc tried to get into the sports. This term came from there, that they said that we should have a sports culture. Even a 6-month-old baby they took to the swimming pool and they threw him there. My mother was watching. She was only watching that he should not be drowned. And he started learning by himself, at times helped by the mother. Now, that is where, from the very beginning, you are introducing him to a sport. And this became a part of the society, it developed. And imagine the number of, the supremacy which the Eastern Bloc enjoyed in the Olympics in those days, in various disciplines, and getting maximum medals, Soviet Union getting medals. But there were other smaller countries like Bulgaria, which are also getting medals in wrestling,
athletics and weightlifting. Yeah.
Yes. So that is because they developed a sports culture.
So you're talking about infrastructure. See, this is another aspect, like even when an infrastructure is planned, but somewhere there are bottlenecks, and anything which should happen within a time frame just gets elongated for a longer period, resulting in cost and other escalations, which again, it seems to be a hurdle for the growth of sports.
Why this is getting, the problem is there are so many agencies. First of all, we are very much target oriented. You don't achieve target in one stroke. There are so many multipurpose agencies, like, say for example, you need infrastructure, you need support system. A sportsman cannot survive or be nursed or nurtured in isolation. So there must be support for him, like gymnasium. There must be support for him to improve his endurance, to improve his psychologically. He should be toughened to face tough competition, so that you are not always defeated. Maybe you can always stage a comeback. So psychologists will make a sportsman strong. Taking care of the sports injuries, because when you are doing so exhaustive, now every game you are playing throughout the year, so your body has got to bear the weight. Wear and tear also will occur.
Yes.
So they have got to be rehabilitated quickly, and that will be done by the physiotherapist. Make them mentally strong. You need a sports psychologist. So this is a part of the whole infrastructure which is to be provided to a growing sports person. And this facility is minuscule as far as sport. How many sports authority centers will have all this infrastructure, and how many sportsmen they are catering for? It's minuscule.
Okay, now coming back to the Commonwealth Games, okay, as you said, it's time for celebration. India finished third, 66 medals, 26 gold medals. But when you compare it to Australia, which finished on top, and then England, which finished second, where Australia had 80 gold medals, England had 45 gold medals, but India seemed, okay, they've done better, but still we are lagging behind. And again, when it comes to Asian Games, we are still going to be further down. So how do we bridge this gap?
Look, unfortunately, it's not bad also, but the way we are developing it's good. Because at the moment we are doing well in certain sports like boxing, weightlifting, badminton and so on. It's good. Let's keep a track of them. Let's focus on them. Because if you look at the sports like athletics, look, Africa in long distance
Yes.
running, Africa has Ethiopia, all these countries, or Uganda, these countries, or the West Indians, especially Jamaicans. They are ruling the roost because physically they are strong. So that is one factor which that they have always have a sway as far as athletics are concerned. Unfortunately, very barring few exceptions like Milkha Singh and so on, or P.T. Usha, or the other girl who was in high jump.
Anju Bobby George.
Anju Bobby George. We don't have, or Sri Ram Singh, athletes of the world standard. And one of the reasons was that they were not scientifically trained also. All of them, the names that we have taken, and
Yes.
including some which we have not taken, they went to a level where they could have won a level. they missed a Olympic medal by a whisker.
Yes.
So, because they were not properly trained to compete at the international level.
Yes.
Milkha Singh lost because he looked back.
True.
P.T. Usha lost in the last stride.
Yeah.
Anju Bobby George, she also could not make it to that level.
Yes.
You know, you have to enhance your performance at the level of Olympics. What you did the best at home, you have to improve upon it when you are in the international. So this last effort, that is where the athletic climax comes. That has happened, and that's why we lost. So maybe we will not be able to get so many medals in athletics. That's why, whereas in other countries like England, Australia, New Zealand, they have all-round development of sports, swimming also, athletics also. So that's why they're getting gold, they're getting more medals, particularly in Commonwealth Games, which we are not getting because our athletes not are of that level of which the other countries are.
Now, how do we bridge? So, should now we focus, right? We, on one hand, let us improve our athletes and sports where we are not doing well, focus on that. At the same time, should we give more concentration on sports like badminton, wrestling, weightlifting, where we are doing well, and try to get more people involved into it and make sure that we do better there? Because there are role models.
We have role models, there is no doubt about it. The functioning of the sports federation has to improve a lot. They have to become much more professional than they are. They are hardly professional. They are not professional at all at the moment. Even if you talk of BCCI, which is the richest sports body of the world today, they are not professional. I know the inside story and I know the inside functioning. They are lucky because they have money, so they are having their say at the international level also. But the other sports federations, they are not professionally organized. Elections don't take place. It's only when the government says that will disqualify you, or International Olympic Committee says will disqualify you, then only they have elections. There are families which are in the sports. The father is the president, then the son becomes the secretary, or when the father retires, the son becomes, as happened in tennis.
Yeah.
So this democratic functioning, transparency in the functioning of the sports federation is very important. Then you should have some professional people and professional sportsmen in your organization so that they give you direction that this is the best way to spot the talent, this is the best way to nurture and nurse the talent.
Okay, but once we get the talent, starting from the bottom, this other paradoxic is about the cost and the money spent. On the one hand, we find that government allocates budgets for sports also. But on the other hand, there are federations and athletes complaining that they don't get enough funds. So where is it going? What's happening to all the money, and why is that we still have this kind of imbalance?
You see, if you look at the budget and if you look at what reaches a sports person, you'll find a big difference. I could be wrong. Maybe a lot of our money is being used by the sports officials, and that's why it is not reaching the game. Last but not the least, when you look at the Indian contingent, whether going for the Olympics or the Asian Games or the Commonwealth Games, look at the composition. You'll find in the entire contingent easily 8 to 10 people who have nothing to do with sports. Say, for example, you might have read, as a journalist, you know it better than me, maybe, that in Rio Olympics, Haryana, some minister went with the entire entourage. Now, the accreditation is not open everywhere. You can go and write a. There's a process which is involved in providing accreditation to you, and then the space. There's always a scarcity of space in the Olympic Village. You want, suddenly you land up with 20 people and you say you want a space, and they had nothing to do with sports. Even the doctors who went, they were not medical doctors. Somebody was radiologist, somebody was else, because they were doctors, and you had to please some official of IOC, so they were there. Putting square peg in round holes in sports federation is the bane of the sports in the country.
Sir, now sum up the entire thing. Can you briefly explain that we have this population compared to China? China is doing very well in sports. India did well. We have shown that in Commonwealth Games, tying it back to Commonwealth Games, we have done well. So it's not that we don't have the talent or we don't have the ability. So what overall, how do you clean up the picture, and how can we emerge as a sporting nation along with what you say rightly said as a developing a sports culture?
You see, the mindset has to change. The society's mindset has to change. You see, today what is happening is that we are not either officially or sociologically we are able to look at sports in a very positive frame of mind. There is a negativity as far as sports is concerned. Maybe there is some sort of positive inclination towards prime sports like cricket, which is because of the glamour that it has, or maybe tennis, but not towards the Olympic disciplines. Today, even athletics is being looked down upon. I don't know whether you agree with me or not. It's not given that importance as cricket or tennis or these elite sports. This is a drawback of the society. A sportsman is a sports person. Abhinav Bindra is as important as Milkha Singh or Sachin Tendulkar or Sania Mirza or Virat Kohli. They are international sports persons who have brought fame and name to the country.
Yes.
So whichever sports discipline they are, it doesn't matter. But look at this society. Do you think the other sports person whom I have named, are they as popular or as important as Virat Kohli?
No, very rarely. Even in terms of performance, the other sportsmen have done much better than Virat Kohli, but still they don't.
No, winning an Olympic medal is much more difficult than scoring 10,000 runs. I don't say scoring 10,000 is easy, but winning a medal in Olympics is equally important. It is a very grueling exercise. You are competing against the best top sportsmen in the world who are very well trained over the years with the best of the facilities in terms of equipment, in terms of support, in every way. And even then, if the Indians win a medal, hats off to them.
Yeah, this is again maybe one last question. We can wind this whole discussion up. The role of the media, like we're talking about Virat Kohli, even if he scores a 50 or 100 in any form, it becomes big news. Whereas here we have won so many medals, all these weightlifters, boxers, the badminton players who did so well in Commonwealth Games. And it's just 1 day's coverage or 2 days coverage, and that's nothing much about them. So what is the role? What should the media do? How should we change the mindset of the media too?
Mr. Ramraj, I'll put it another way. When you were growing up, or when you started as a journalist, or when I was a student and playing for a club in Delhi or my college in Delhi, people who became sports editor of major dailies of India, they used to come to the university to cover the inter-college. They used to cover the club cricket.
Sorry to interrupt. In fact, I started covering under 15.
Today, forget even the new reporter who is recruited. He only goes once in a blue moon to the university or to a club cricket tournament. He just gets a story from somewhere or the other and he writes the copy. So, the involvement of media, because when you cover it from the ground, you will really report the talent in a right way. You will report the game, the ups and downs of the game in a proper perspective. When you just get the story from somebody else, you will do just a reporting which has no taste, it has blend of absolutely. The media is not playing its proper game. The media has a very important role to play. And media has played a role in shaping some of the sportsmen who became top sportsmen later. And today, Tell me, as you said about about this under 15
Yeah.
games which you covered, if we feel that there is a talent in a particular mofussil town or in a rural, why not a local media man, they go there and project him that here is the raw talent which the country can take care of, which is not happening. Therefore, the media is failing its duties. We have all become, you know,
Armchair
armchair
journalists.
journalists.
Yeah. So thank you very much, sir, on this
Thank you.
discussion on Commonwealth Games and sports. Thank you.
Mr. Ramraj is not only talking about these games, coming to Trinity Mirror and talking about sports here, I feel very much at home, and I am thankful to Trinity Mirror and its establishment that I am able to express my views on whatever little I have learned from the sports so far. Thank you.